Oh, yeah, this country's running with the devil in a big way, and it's not cute and it's not funny. I'm going to take a bunch of final calls here at the end. But in closing, Texas agency wants to set up statewide driver's license checkpoints. Now, they've done this all over the country. They claim it's for illegals, but the state police never said that. They said, no, it's for everybody, insurance, driver's license. And they even started saying, well, don't worry, we're not going to stop the illegals. So they are already, folks, and I've had Austin cops admit this to me, and the police have been on the news, sheriff's departments, where they arrest illegals. The citizen would be arrested for, driving drunk with no ID and no insurance. But they let them go because the judges just let them go. Because ICE won't come pick them up. But because this might stop an illegal alien, government said, you're not doing it. See, again, they want checkpoints, but it will stop the flooding of the country to bring down the national sovereignty and drive down the wages. That's a big part of the New World Order, is having these open borders. And I'm not against the poor, desperate third world people that want to come here for a better job. I'm sorry, though. If it's part of the New World Order plan, I'm against it. It's real simple. Let's talk to Mike in Maryland. You're on the air. Go ahead, Mike.
Yes, thanks for taking my call, Alex. I really appreciate you making me aware of the New World Order and what's going on. And to harken back to what you were saying earlier about the media and stuff, we have to scrutinize the corporate-controlled media just as if we lived in the Soviet Union, just like we were looking at Pravda. And the same thing also applies to the movie industry and everything else.
And by the way, you should apply that to me. I mean, if I tell you a British military report, and I tell you where the link is, says governments will use neutron weapons to stop citizens from overthrowing them, you better go read it.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, although the times that I've doubted you, when I've gone back to research it, I've found that you've always been right. So, in my book, you've got a great track record.
Still, don't trust me. Do not trust me.
Yeah, what you're saying is right, and I just wanted to thank you for making me aware of, like, I'm a movie buff, and like movies like Fight Club, where the last few minutes of the film, you've got these high-rise buildings in Manhattan going down and stuff, things like that.
Hey, remember the guy in 2000 blowing up, bombing mailboxes around the country?
Yeah.
And then I saw that it was a smiley face, and I said, it's a Fight Club fan, it's a Fight Club person, this is real terrorism, but it's low intensity for attention. And that was about 2 weeks before the FBI caught him, and it was Fight Club. But it's not that I'm a genius. The guy's bombing a smiley face. They bomb smiley faces in the movie. Yeah, I said that woman that put the B on her face, because it was backwards in the mirror, I said it was fake. Sure. I mean, I'm an investigator. That's what I do. I know who criminals are.
Yeah, well,
I know what you are, you stinking government. You're a pack of crooks and oh, you make me sick. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're able to connect the dots because you live and breathe this. But I want to bring one movie to your attention and ask you if this isn't predictive programming. I don't know what is. Of course, I'm sure you know about Children of Men and how that presaged.
Yeah, the government's running a program. 80+% sperm reduction in men, close to that in women with their eggs being infertile. They're frying us by design. It's all, yeah.
Well, there's a movie, I saw the previews for it a couple of weeks ago, and I have yet to see it at the local theaters, and I don't know if the movie bombed because it was lousy or it was bad critics, but it's called Blindness, and this is a New World Order's dream. The premise of the movie is it stars Julianne Moore. It looks like an interesting and maybe interesting...
Well, what happens? I got to move on.
Okay, basically, the premise of the movie is people are struck blind by this disease that spreads, and only a few people are able to...
That's exactly the type of soft kill stuff that the United Nations Eugenics Directorate is doing in their own admissions. They already have vaccines that they can give you a shot, they call it a vaccine, and the viruses then go attack the optic nerves. They can give you a shot that, quote, cures you from cocaine abuse or cigarettes, but it attacks the brain cells and the neuroreceptors. These are live-acting viruses. And so, yeah, they got a bunch of movies about that. Take the movie that came out, I Am Legend, and see, that's where there's a cancer cure shot, but then it kills 98% of the public or whatever. You see, folks, they have all of this, okay, minus the zombies. Let's go ahead and talk to Teresa. You're on the area. Psychopathic New World Order people are in control, folks. We're only going to stop them by waking up. You're on the air. Welcome, Teresa. North Dakota.
Well, thank you. I want to let you know that we appreciate everything you do, and we live in a small community of about 3,000 people, and they want to take $5.5 million to fix our roads. Well, what they want to do is they want to slap a 15-year assessment for every homeowner. Okay?
Yeah, and they're going to take that money and invest it in foreign banks who are going to steal it.
Right. Well,
wait till the whole government collapses. They're going to have SWAT teams stealing your house. Go ahead.
Right, and the roads only last 10 years. Okay? But they want to do a 15-year assessment. And so what they want to do is, so we could protest this if we wanted to. And we had to have 50% of the people in our town protest, fill out the forms, but you had to have your legal house description on there. Well, not everybody knows their legal house description. And if you didn't have that, they'd throw your protest out.
Well, what they do is the property tax raping us isn't enough. And so they need more money to pay their husbands and wives and the nepotism and the corruption and the boss hogs. So, yes, they come in and say, we're putting curbs in. You owe us $20,000.
Right, and we'll get that.
And if you don't leave your house, the SWAT team will drop by.
40 to 45% of the property in this town is owned by the city already.
I know. So that's how America works.
To get 50% to protest, it'd be literally impossible.
Look, they're saying everybody they put out of work is going to get a green police job. I mean, Obama's website said it, everybody freaked out, so they took it down. But then I saw Kennedy on TV today pushing it.
Right. And
not the one dying of the cell phone tumor, the other one.
Right, and if they put this assessment on there, nobody's going to be able to sell their house.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and then if you can't pay the assessment, it's going to be a property grab.
Listen,
they're going to come take your property.
I have, when we've covered them, they want to bankrupt us. Banks want to bankrupt. The big elite banks, not your local ones, they want business. They want good economies. Local banks are good. And by the way, they're using the bailout money to buy up all those local good banks. I appreciate your call. Yeah, look, government is now a private receivership arm to steal stuff to give it to foreign banks. That's what the New World Order is. That's what this big global meeting was. Michael in Kansas City, you're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Hello, Alex. First off, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for trying to inform everybody about what's going on. That's what I'm trying to do here in Kansas City. It was obvious to me from the beginning that those World Trade Centers were blown to bits, and I'm really happy to see so many people are becoming informed.
Well, hold on a minute. The government declassified that they radiated 4,000-plus foster children to death in radiation tests, but the government wouldn't kill people in buildings. The government's nice. Go ahead.
But I'm giving away 300 or 400 copies of Loose Change since this came out. I give it away to total strangers, everybody I talk to. And the majority of people think I'm nuts or some kind of communist.
Polls don't show that.
And
polls show the majority believe you. You ought to give them endgame.
And I'm so glad to see so many people are becoming aware of it, like this Architects and Engineers 9/11 Truth organization has come out. We've got some what the mainstream would call reputable people.
Yeah, I got National Geographic coming in this week, and they said, you will not discuss, and I just said, fine, I'll even do a rigged hit piece. I'll even go in, they got gloves with huge pieces of iron on the front, and, and my hands are tied behind my back in the fight. But, they've got hatchets and my arms are tied behind my back. They said, you can't talk about Northwoods. You can't talk about Gulf of Tonkin. You can't talk about the history of government-sponsored terrorism. You can't talk about the drills that day. It's all limited to their little rigged deal.
Well, my question to you is, and ever since we went off the gold standard and our money is backed on debt, right?
Yeah.
And so they keep running up the debt, and I've been looking at these figures, and we're on an exponential curve, and I knew that this financial disaster was going to happen. But I see how they're manipulating the money. My main question to you right now is, it seems like 9/11 is a moot thing right now, and I...
No, it's not. I appreciate your call. I got to let you go. The show's over. I'm going to answer the question, and I'm sorry to everybody else because I've got to go. Steve in Maine and Chris in Florida, Jim, and everybody call me. You'll go to the head of the line. Here's the deal, okay? 9/11, because people think Bush did it, he's a puppet. The government, the military-industrial complex, the bankers carried out the attacks. It was in their own documents that they needed staged terror attacks to get us to accept the police state so they could steal our pension funds. They had to put a police state in, so they said, oh, it's to fight al-Qaeda. Now they admit it's for us. It's more important than ever because they're now saying there's going to be staged terror under Obama. The CIA is saying, get ready. They're about to head us again to test him so he can take all our rights and support torture and more wars. So exposing government-sponsored terror and the hundreds of times they admit they've done it, that's right, declassified, is absolutely essential. God bless you all. I want to take more of your calls than I will on the weekday show. Sorry we cut off some of the people, but we love you all out there and appreciate you. Great job to the crew, Jaron and Paul and Trey. God bless you all. We'll see you at Infowars.com. Get out there and take on tyranny. Defend the human spirit. Get out there. Fight them.